afternoon, everyone. Each time I speak here, my heartbeat is racing, even though I spoke to the live audience numerous times. All right, ladies, gentlemen, parents, faculty, my board members, Dr. Lightfoot, and my dear graduating seniors. Welcome to the graduation ceremony of the class of 2013. Before I begin, I'd like to thank all of you who supported these youngsters along their journey to become men and women of success and high values. Today, I stand before you as a personification and competitiveness. I find myself on this podium experiencing numerous conflicting emotions, and I'm certain many of you here empathize with me on that point. Firstly, and perhaps most obviously, I am filled with a great sense of happiness and accomplishment. My board, staff, faculty, parents, students, all together, hand in hand, put a lot of effort for these last 7 years into being able to stand here today and say that we have become one of the high-performing and award-winning high schools in the area. It was by no means easy. Despite all the challenges facing our community this year, we have managed to work together toward the success of our children. Based on the results we just received this past week, we achieved 95% passing and exceeding in biology and, of course, the exam, 97% in physical science, 97% in geometry, 97% in 9th grade literature, 94% in 11th grade American literature, and 94% in U.S. history. Let's give a round of applause to all of our students, parents, and teachers. In addition, we just recently received one of the highest college and career-ready performance index given by the Georgia Department of Education, and our graduation rate has increased every year and is now one of the highest rates in the area. These students sitting in front of us now are the living proof of this achievement. Of course, this success didn't happen overnight. When I look back to the past 7 years, I've seen many students, teachers, and parents work hard. If I have to mention some of them, I would think they would take forever to mention all, but I'll just mention a couple of them that just come to my mind first. I've seen Miss Margaret Jones stay at this school as late as 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. pretty much every day consistently to prepare for the class tomorrow. I've seen Ms. Serkaya tutoring students in the morning, starting 7:30, and as late as 7:30 p.m. She's been with her students all the time. I've seen Ms. Rogers and Mr. Moran driving our History Bowl students to Washington, D.C. And many others, like Ms. Surgeon, Ms. Foster, and all other teachers, coaching clubs after school activities, and staying with the students at this school and outside the schools to make sure that they'll be successful in what they're working on. I have to mention my parents as well. My PBO tirelessly worked to put together many events and activities, including this one. Ms. Rex, Ms. Collier, and Mr. Morgan, and many others dedicated their time and energy to help and maintain a setting where our children feel safe, nurtured, flourished, and excelled. This is how we became a brand of success. This is how we became a family, united and standing together. We all had only one mission to achieve, to teach our children to be a lifelong learner, wherever, whenever. Yes, it was that mission, not just to educate person, but to cultivate a good person, strong person, and upright person. So the experiences our graduates we have shared at FSA High School should give you hope. The future we share should give you hope. Your generation is uniquely poised for success, unlike any generation that came before it. But that doesn't mean that we don't have to work. We don't have work to do. You're graduating into globally competitive job markets. Now your competitors are not only people around you, your competitors are also people from the other side of the world. So every day you have to work harder than ever. Moving forward, I will have a few universally accepted suggestions that I think you will benefit if you listen and follow. Number one, don't fear mistakes or failure. Mistakes mean you're getting out there and trying new things. But learn from your own mistakes and the mistakes of others, and do not repeat them. As you all know, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. Number two, be wise, because the world needs more wisdom than ever. If you cannot be wise, at least be around the people that are wise, and just behave like them. And remember, the world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it. Number three, be true human beings in not only physical aspect of your existence, but also in the attraction of your secrets to happiness of others. For this reason, those who disregard their innate spiritual aspect and concentrate only on their physical existence will never find true peace and contentment. Because remember, only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. Number four, take action. Every story you have ever connected with, every leader you have ever admired, every little thing that you have ever accomplished is the result of taking action. You have a choice. You can either be a passive victim of circumstance, or you can be the active hero of your own life. A proverb states that stomach throws out the food that is not digested. Life and history do the same thing to useless people. So be useful for yourself and for the people around you. Finally, don't be envious. Whenever you come across someone who is better or more successful than you are, you can react either with envy or emulation. Envy is the pain that you feel because others have good things. Emulation is the pain that you feel because you yourself do not have them. This is a subtle but critical difference. Unlike envy, which is useless at best and self-defeating at worst, emulation is a good thing because it makes us to take steps towards securing good things. One last reminder, always remember that success is not going to come quick or easily. But if you strive to do what's right, if you work harder and dream bigger, if you set an example in your own lives and do your part to help meet the challenges of your time, then I'm confident that together you will continue the never-ending task of perfecting yourself and your community. Again, congratulations, class of 2013. God bless you. God bless our students. God bless you. Now it is my honor to introduce Dr. William Lightfoot. Dr. Lightfoot is currently the Dean of the College of Business and Mass Communication at Brunel University. He also served as the founding director of the university's Discovery Incubator. Prior to joining Brunel, he led the graduate programs at the International University of Monaco in Europe. He spent 15 years working in field engineering, marketing, and management of electronic controls for manufacturing and has served on numerous boards for companies and nonprofits in the United States and overseas. He has earned degrees in electrical engineering and business and frequently travels globally, helping to further expand opportunities for Brunel universities and faculty. Please welcome Dr. William Lightfoot.
Thank you. Principal Surgeon, board members, faculty, staff, parents, families, friends, and all other distinguished guests and visitors. Today we are here to congratulate these fine young people who have persisted in achieving perhaps their greatest success to this point in their lives, that of earning their high school diploma. So how do you start off a commencement speech? I could follow in the footsteps of the famous author Kurt Vonnegut and tell you that the only thing you need to remember is to floss every day. Or I could quote Steve Jobs and say, stay hungry and stay foolish. Instead, I'm simply going to say, wow, what an incredible school, what an incredible community, what an incredible day. In preparation for coming here, I tried to get a sense and a feel for the school. I wanted to know who you were, the curriculum, the faculty, the administration, the governing board. I can't tell you how critical this school is to our future, the future of our country, the future of our society, to our futures. I think back to my high school and then college years as a student with clear strengths in math and science. But without the guidance or focus, as you've gotten here, what you've gotten here is a strong foundation in theory and practice, in research and application, whether it's the AP and honors classes, physics, calculus, literature, the robotics club, Odyssey of the Mind, Blue Club, whatever rocks your boat, you've got a fantastic foundation. As a college educator and administrator with electrical engineering first degree, business background, high-tech sales and marketing, and many years of living and working in Europe and other places overseas, I know firsthand that what we need are more graduates from schools like Bolton Science Academy High School. Society is asking for critical thinkers, for excellent communicators, for more high school graduates with excellent preparation in math, science, English, humanities. What the world wants and needs, you already have a strong base in delivering. In preparing my remarks today, I thought that before I spoke to the graduates, I would first recognize a number of different groups of people who have made today possible in so many critical ways. First, let me recognize all of the support staff, the school, in the community, and in the families. While often not recognized, your contributions are always there, whether it's organizing events, getting the kids to school, lending a hand, or opening your hearts. Without you this day, and indeed every day before and after, doesn't happen. Next, the faculty. You've done it. You've challenged, provoked, motivated, cajoled, inspired, and enlightened. With some of these young people, it's been easy and perhaps a joy. With others, well, there might have been a few obstacles, and definitely some challenges. But today they are here because you chose the path of being a teacher, to serve not only your school, but the community in guiding our youth to the brink of adulthood. And what an awesome job you've done. To the administrators and leaders in the school and community who guide the education of our youths, who support the staff and faculty, thank you for providing the vision and for making sometimes very difficult decisions and being responsible for helping these young students fulfill their promise, setting the stage for the rest of their lives. And to the parents, grandparents, and family members, congratulations. To the parents in particular, before you got anything in return, you began to invest in yourself and these teens. You gave them nourishment and shelter. You protected them when they needed protecting, disciplined them when they needed disciplining. You rewarded them when they needed that. And perhaps, above all else, you gave them your hearts and shared your values, setting them up for your own journeys. And finally, to the graduates, while I have a few more things to say to you about this magical moment, about the next steps in your own personal pathway, let me start by sharing a few lessons I have learned and offering up one challenge. First, I'm going to tell you a story about dreams, teams, and failure. As a kid, I grew up in Connecticut, where I met my best friend Jerry. Now, Jerry and I met when we were 2½. We lived across the street from each other in Northford, on the corner of Ash Drive and Walnut Lane, up above the old Bull Hill Farm. While I only lived near Jerry for a little over 2 years, for the rest of our school years, we'd see each other whenever we could, spending holidays, school breaks, and summer together. Our families were close as well, and made it easier to get together. This was in the era before computers and software games, well before we had anything like access to the internet. No Nintendo or Xbox 360. We certainly didn't tweet, Pinterest, or Facebook. Had no smartphones or even cell phones. Heck, we had 2 phones with rotary dials and 1 television set with a huge 24-inch screen. We could get 3 channels some days. Channel 3 was CBS from New York, Channel 7 from New Haven, and Channel 11 from Hartford. The closest thing to color on the TV was the brown wood panels that framed the screen. We actually had to get up off the couch to change the channels of the volume. The letters E, I, and X were used in words as a part of complete sentences, typically strung together in a coherent manner. Sometimes, if we finished our chores and homework, we could watch 30 minutes of TV before dinner, usually shows like Speed Racer, or if my little sister had her way, the Flintstones. Sometimes on Friday and Saturday nights, we'd watch shows like Mayberry RFD, Hogan's Heroes, and Brady Bunch. These are the originals, not reruns. And on Saturdays, after we'd spend the day working in the yard or playing outside, we'd join our dad and watch the wide world of sports, getting introduced to sports that a kid growing up in Connecticut usually didn't pay attention to, like NASCAR, soccer, or golf. On Sundays, we might watch the Mickey Mouse Club or Disney movie. Occasionally, we'd get to watch a Jacques Cousteau special. Perhaps my most vivid memory from that era was when we stayed up late to watch Neil Armstrong's first step on the moon on July 20th, 1969. In any event, Jerry and I took our motivation from these common shared images. And even though we lived 30 miles apart and only saw each other every 2 to 3 months, when we did see each other, we'd immediately talk about baseball or the latest Jacques Cousteau adventure. Or with our Matchbox cars, we'd build dirt racetracks which we'd mainly use to smash each other's cars together in wondrous explosions of laughter and dirt. This is not on the screen, this is not computer simulations, this is dirt, real dirt. And so it was in this context that one summer day, we were inspired to build our own race car. Now, Jerry had great mechanical skills, even at the young age of 11. He could take an old bicycle, disassemble it, and use the tires and piece parts as the primary movers for our race car. I, on the other hand, was good at lugging things. So as Jerry was disassembling one of his sister's bikes, I was scrounging around in the backyard shed along under the back deck looking for anything that would help us make the world's fastest racer. 1971 was a year when Richard Petty's car number 43 won the Daytona 500 and about 20 other races. Now the neighborhood where Jerry lived was rather hilly. It had one long hill with a sharp 90-degree turn to the right onto Reeds Gap Road, heading down towards Route 17, where cars and trucks were known to exceed the speed limit of 45 miles an hour on a regular basis. Somehow, during the process of me lugging and Jerry building a Richard Petty special, complete with the number 43 painted on the plywood hood, we determined that to really get the speed we were looking for, we needed to start pushing the car from right in front of the Anderson's house, about 3 doors down from Jerry's on the left-hand side. We'd already determined that Jerry would drive, which really meant just trying to steer the front wheels using the 2 ropes he'd attached to the axle in the front. In addition to lugging, I was pretty good at pushing, so my job, like that of a pusher in the bobsled, was to push the race car as fast as I could until we got up to speed, and then jump swiftly and elegantly into the seat behind Jerry as we continued to accelerate down Walnut Lane, heading towards that turn at Reeds Gap. Well, swift I might be, but I can tell you I've seldom been called elegant. The first try, I actually wiped out 15 feet into the start, skinning the palm of my right hand as the race car slowly meandered into the gutter just past the Anderson's mailbox. After wiping off the dirt, blood, tears, and a few small pebbles,